Hello everybody. In the previous lecture we have discussed about a practical transformer where we have modeled a practical transformer by removing the conditions which we laid on an ideal transformer. So if the ideal transformer was represented by just by two windings, so this is the general representation of an ideal transformer. Then by removing the conditions which we laid on an ideal transformer, we have modeled a practical transformer. So we said that the practical transformer will require some magnetizing current because of some finite permeability, and then the practical transformer has core losses into it because of hysteresis and eddy current losses. So we will say that we represented the core losses by a resistance and the magnetizing current requirement by a magnetizing reactance, and we connected them in shunt with the winding. So we say that this is JXM, this is RC, and obviously it will require current IM here, magnetizing current, and I naught or IC current for the core losses, and the combined of it is my I naught current. Okay, so we said that I naught is actually IC plus IM. Okay, this all would be the phasor quantity, and generally this no load current, this I naught, we say it as no load current or excitation current. And generally in case of transformer, this no load current or the excitation current is around 2% to 5% of the rated current. Okay, so generally this no load current is very less, and even if there is no load connected at the secondary side of it, still this current would be there. Okay, then we have incorporated the leakage flux. We have represented it by an inductor in the primary winding as well as in the secondary winding. Okay, so this we said XL1, JXL1, and this is JXL2, and then we have incorporated the winding resistance. So if winding resistance is R1 for the primary winding and R2 for the secondary winding. So here at the winding we would be having the induced EMF E2 at the secondary side. Let's say dot is here and dot is here, and E1 at the primary side. E1 is the induced voltage at the primary side and E2 is the induced voltage at the secondary side. Then we generally exercise, let's say at the primary side we have energized it by an external source and whose RMS value is V1 here, and we have connected the load at the secondary side, let's say ZL at an angle of theta here. So the moment we turn it on here, so it will draw the current, the load current would be drawn, right? So if I say that this is the terminal voltage V2 here, okay, and V1 here, so generally we mark the transformer's rating or transformer's turn ratio by V1 by V2. So obviously this V1 by V2 is actually not equal to E1 by E2, right? The reason is there would be some voltage drop across these series components, right? If I load it, the moment I have loaded at the secondary side, then some equivalent amount of current, let's say if I have loaded it, then I2 current would be passing through the secondary of the transformer, and corresponding to I2 we would be having I2 dash here at the primary of the transformer, right? And this I2 dash would be actually I2 by A, and this, but from the source it would be I1, right? So this I1 would actually be equal to, or the current drawn from the source would be actually equal to I2 dash plus I naught. Okay, I naught is the no load current. Okay, so these all would be in the phasor quantity. So what you can see is if I change the load, Okay, if I change the load impedance, let's say ZL, if I change the load impedance ZL, then the secondary current will actually change, okay, depending upon the impedance there, and accordingly this I2 dash would also be changed, right? This I2 dash would be changed. Okay, so if I am varying I2, if I2 is being varied, so that means I2 dash would also be varied, and I0 will remain constant. It will remain constant. Now, so the moment I have loaded it, then at that time what you can see is V1 by V2 won't be equal to E1 by E2. The reason is there would be some drop in these series component R1 JXL1 into I1, right? That voltage drop would be there. Similarly, there would be some voltage drop in uh, in the secondary winding as well. Okay, so here E2 and V2 they are not same, and here in the primary side V1 and E1 they are not same. Okay, so if you want to write the KVL for, let's say, for here, so V1 minus, let's say, I1 R1 plus J times XL1, and this drop minus E1 would be actually equal to 0. That means V1 is equal to E1 plus I1 times R1 plus JXL1. Similarly, if you write the KVL in this loop, let's say, so if you write it, it would be E2 minus I2 R2 plus JXL2, and then this is the load voltage V2 here, so minus V2 here. This load voltage, or the, we can say it's the terminal voltage, okay, would be actually 0. So that means V2 is actually equal to E2 minus I2 R2 plus JXL2. Okay, so what we do is, generally what we do is we manipulate with the number of turns N1 and N2 in such a way that V1 by V2 is actually, so here we can see that the the voltage V1, right, would be higher as compared to E1. There would be some drop here, and similarly in the secondary side you can see that induced EMF E2 would be higher as compared to the terminal voltage during the load condition. So generally what we do is we mention the rating of voltage rating of the transformer in terms of the terminal voltages V1 and V2, and not E1 and E2. So to account for the drops here, what we do is we manipulate with the number of turns in such a way that we get the we get the desired voltage what we want at the secondary side. So we manipulate with these number of turns here. Okay, so V1 upon V2, okay, is actually almost equal to N1 by N2. So we play with this number of turns accordingly as per our requirement. As per our requirement, we play with the with these number of turns of the primary and the secondary winding, okay, to get the desired terminal voltage as per the, the drops there, okay, as per the voltage drop in the series winding, or in the winding. Okay, and then uh, we can actually refer these in the towards the primary side, these parameters of the secondary towards the primary side, or the primary side parameters towards the secondary side. Okay, so if we refer those parameters, then it is actually, let's say, R1 JXL1 RC JXM. This is R1, this is JXL1, this is RC, this is JXL and JXM, magnetizing reactance. And if I have referred the secondary side parameters to the primary side as well, then this would be R2 dash, which we have discussed in the previous lecture, JXL2 dash. Okay, so this is the representation of a transformer referred to the primary side. The equivalent circuit diagram of the transformer, exact equivalent circuit of a transformer referred to primary side. Now can we draw the phasor diagram for these conditions? Let's say for a loaded condition where some power factor angle is theta. Let's say this is theta 2. Okay. Can we draw the phasor diagram for it? So we have a flux here, let's say phi m. Okay. And we know that induced EMF E1 and E2 would be somewhat here. Let's say if it is a step of transformer, so E1 would be here and E2 would also be somewhere here. So obviously IM, the magnetizing current, would be in phase with the flux. So this is IM. Okay. And there are the core losses as well. So core losses would be in phase with the induced EMF here. So this is IC and the combined of it would be somewhat here, I naught. Okay, so I naught is actually equal to IM, which we have given before as well, IM plus IC. Now with respect to secondary side we will start. Okay, let's say this load has been connected, this switch is on. So with respect to this we will try to draw it. Okay, so if my reference voltage V2 is, so there would be an angle between V2 and I2, right? If V2, let's say V2 is at some angle, then this current I2 would actually be lagging V2 by an angle of theta 2, and this E2, if you will see, this E2 is actually equal to the sum of V2 plus I2 R2 plus JXL2, right? So we'll try to incorporate here. So let's say this is V2. What about, so this is I naught, so I2 would be, I'm saying that it will lag V2 by an angle of some angle, the load power factor angle, which is theta 2, I said here. Okay, what about I1? So I1 is actually equal to I naught, which is the no load current, plus I2 dash, right? I2 dash is I2 by A. Okay, so I1 would be the sum of I naught plus I2, right? So I'm drawing it. So this is, hope this is in phase. This is I naught here. So this is I1 here. Okay, so I1 is actually equal to I naught plus I2 dash. Okay, so I2 dash and I2, they would be, obviously the magnitude would be different. Okay, magnitude would be different, but I2 dash and I2, they would be in the same phase. Okay, so that's why I have taken the sum of it. So what you can think of is this I2 dash is actually this, instead of I2, this is I2 dash here. Okay, so you can see that. So this is I1 here. So what about V2, this expression, right? So V2 plus this drop would be the induced EMF at the secondary side. Okay, so I2 into R2 would be in phase with I2. So I am drawing it I2 R2, and similarly J times I2 X2, and this is I2 X2 XL2, J times, this is J times I2 XL2. So here it is the E2. So this is E2. Similarly you can draw for the E1 as well. Okay, so E1 is E1 plus I1 R1 and JXL1 will give me V1. Okay, so I1 I know, so E1, and then let's say, so this is E1 here, E1, and then I1 R1 here. So in the direction of I1, so if this is I1 in this direction, so I1 R1 in this direction, and then you know, so this is V1 here, and this is I1 J times I1 XL1. Okay, so this is my voltage here, V1, and if you see the angle between I1 and V1 is this one, theta 1. So power factor angle at the, so what you can see is power factor angle at the primary side has changed now. Earlier the power factor angle at no, in an ideal transformer it was same for the primary side as well as for the secondary side, but now because of these drops, uh, the leakage, the drops in the windings, so we have, and even the drops in the, and drops because of that no load current, the power factor angle of the primary side angle, if I say that V1 and I1, they are the primary side voltage and current, so power factor angle at primary side is higher as compared to the power factor angle of secondary side. Okay, now sometimes these equivalent circuit diagram, for some application, what we do is, even to solve these kind of circuits where you have a shunt branch parameters in the middle of it, sometimes it is tedious to solve this kind of circuit. So for some application, we can assume, we can actually approximate these equivalent circuit diagram of a transformer. So approximate, that was the exact equivalent circuit diagram of the transformer, and this is the approximate equivalent circuit of a transformer, circuit diagram of a transformer. So there what we do is, we actually shift the as per our convenience, because this drop is very less, this no load current is very less, so either we shift the shunt branch parameters, we shift the shunt branch parameters to one side, and we can club the winding resistances and impedances together, where this R equivalent and XJX equivalent, and this is RC and this is JXM. So R equivalent is given by, let's say, if it is at the primary side, okay, so R1 plus R2 dash, which is R2 dash, we know that it would be A square times R2, and JX equivalent is actually XL1 JXL1 plus A square times XL2. So as per our convenience, we can shift the shunt branch parameters either one side of the series branch parameter as per our convenience. Okay. Similarly, in some of the application, let's say the transformer is fully loaded and no load current is hardly 2 ampere of the or 2% of the transformer is very well designed. So 2% or even less than that no load component, we can neglect it altogether. Then what we can say is a transformer can simply be represented by the series branch parameters in some of the applications. Okay, so this is R equivalent and this is JX equivalent. Okay, so these are all the approximate equivalent circuit, okay, of a transformer. So it is as per our application, how do we want to, how we are using our transformer, we can actually approximate the equivalent circuit diagram of a transformer. Okay, now we will discuss about the tests to find the parameters of a transformer, because these parameters actually sometimes we need to know the performance of a transformer. We have designed a transformer, but we want to test it, like how my transformer will actually behave. Okay, so for that we need to perform some tests. Okay, we cannot directly put the transformer into the field and then we'll say, okay, the transformer will behave in a particular way. Rather, before sending the transformer, let's say if I want to talk about the efficiency, then I should be able to tell, okay, well, how much would be the copper losses there, okay, what would be the losses inside it, and then we can say, okay, efficiency is something output by input, so we know the input, some losses, so we can directly say, okay, this would be the efficiency of the transformer. There's a term voltage regulation we will discuss in the next lecture. So even this, if we know the parameters of the transformer, okay, they can actually tell what would be the voltage regulation. Voltage regulation is nothing but the voltage, how much the voltage drop would be there. At some voltage we have energized the transformer with a particular voltage, then how much voltage we'll get at the terminal of it. Okay, so if you know the parameters of a transformer, then we can easily comment on that. So to find the parameters of a transformer, there are two tests. One is open circuit test. For circuit, generally I write CKT, circuit test, and another is short circuit test. Okay, so we will discuss about open circuit test first. Okay, open circuit test. So this test is performed to find the, or I would say this test helps in finding the shunt branch parameters. So this open circuit test, we sometimes say it as no load test as well. And this test is actually performed at LV side of the transformer. Okay, it is performed at rated or lower voltage. Okay, and it gives the core losses of the transformer at the test voltage. Because I have said that core losses depends upon the magnetic field density at which we are operating it. Okay, and magnetic field density or magnetic flux, that depends upon at what voltage I am operating it. So if I have performed the test at rated voltage, it will give me the core losses for the rated condition. But if the rated condition means if the transformer has been designed for, let's say, 400 volt by, let's say, 440 volt by 11 kV, and if I perform this test at LV side, and that is 440 volt, then I would be getting the core losses for that particular voltage. Okay, so it gives the core losses of the transformer at the test voltage, either the rated or the lower voltage. Okay, at what voltage we have performed the test. Okay, so there one question arises, why LV side? LV is low voltage. Okay, LV stands for low voltage. Why LV side is preferred to perform the open circuit test? Okay, so there the one reason is instrumentation, that to achieve lower voltage in the lab is easy to achieve the lower voltage in the lab. Let's say you have a transformer of 33 kV by 440 volt. So obviously 440 volt would be easier to achieve in the lab than the 33 kV. So one reason is the easy to achieve the lower voltage in the lab. The instrumentation becomes easier. One thing. Second thing is the open circuit test is actually no load test. That means the no load current, if I'm performing this test, okay, so the current which is flowing in the transformer, that's only because of the core losses and the magnetizing current, and we have said that this is only 2 to 5% of the rated condition. So if this current is less, okay, and if we performed at the 440 volt side, so obviously this current will get magnified, or it would be higher as compared to if we perform the test at 33 kV side. Okay, because let's say a transformer of 100 kVA and 33 kV slash 440 volt. Okay, this is the transformer's rating. Okay, so what would be the rated current? So for 33 kV side, it would be 3.03 ampere by 227.2 ampere. Okay, so rated current of the respective side would be 3.3 ampere and 227.2 ampere. Okay, so the no load current of this rated current would be 2% to 5%. So let's say I am assuming 2%. So for 2% of 2% of 3 ampere would be very small as compared to 2% of this quantity, 227.2 ampere. Okay, so the chances of error becomes, because to sense a lower current, okay, is a difficult task. A very low amount of current, to sense the very low amount of current, it's a difficult task, and to get the accuracy as well, right? So even if, let's say, if you miss a small portion of a small current, portion of a very small portion of the current, then actually the error would be higher there, right, as compared to the same current. If same, same error is there in the 227.2 ampere of current. So to have the better instrumentation also, we prefer to have this no load test at the LV side. Okay. So now how is the circuit connections? So generally in the lab, if you are able to perform these tests in the lab, I don't know what's the situation now, but if we get chance to perform this test in the lab, then the instrumentations of it is actually we needed uh, a variac. Generally it's a auto transformer. Okay, so this is a variable AC source, and then you have an ammeter here, or an ammeter here, then a wattmeter. So our wattmeter, we know that we have M, L, potential coil, and the current coil, and then the potential coil. Okay, so this is C, this is V here. C is externally connected, and then let's say you have a voltmeter here, and this is the transformer. So this is the actually real transformer or the practical transformer. So this side would be the LV side, and this side would be high voltage side. That means this side we keep it open. High voltage side we keep it open, and low voltage side we perform the experiment at low voltage side. Okay, so all these instrumentations are actually performed at low voltage side. Okay, so this is just the representation. So secondary is kept open, and you need these things to find the parameters of the transformer. Okay, so obviously if you draw the equivalent circuit diagram, so of this transformer, if I just represent this transformer, by its equivalent circuit diagram, so I'm just representing the transformer by its equivalent circuit diagram. Series winding here, and then the shunt branch parameters here. This is R2 dash, and this is JXL2 dash, and this is R1, and this is JXL1, and this is RC, and this is JXM. Now since at the secondary side we don't have any load connected here, right? So this is just the equivalent circuit diagram of the transformer which we have put into the test. Okay, so what you can see is there is no load connected at the secondary side of it, and also you can observe that means I2 dash is actually 0. I2 dash is 0. So what about this I1? So we know that this I1 is actually equal to I0 plus I2 dash, but this I2 dash is 0. That means this I1 is actually reading the current which is coming here, I0 here, and I2 dash. So I2 dash is 0, so I1 is actually is I0, right? So this ammeter is actually reading IOC, open circuit current. So this IOC is actually equal to I0, which is the no load current. Okay, that no load current is the sum of RC and JXM. And the thing is, since we are performing this test at low voltage side, okay, so these parameters for the low voltage side, R1 and JXL1 would be very low, and this no load current itself is low, so the drop across this R1 and JXL1 can be neglected. So drop across R1 plus JXL1 can be neglected as I naught is very low, 2%, right, of the rated. And because that, you can think of resistance, right? At the low voltage side, we said that the low voltage side, the voltage, right, that will depend upon the number of turns. So for the low voltage side, number of turns would be lower, right, as compared to high voltage side. Okay, so this quantity, this R1 and JXL1, that depends upon the number of turns, right? Resistance, that will depend upon the length of the wire, and length of the wire, that will depend upon the number of turns. For the low voltage side, that is lower. Even the leakage reactance, if you see, we have represented it by inductor, where that inductor was depending upon square of the number of turns. So for the low voltage side, this number of turns is lower. So we can directly neglect the voltage drop which is appearing across this parameters, across this series branch parameters. So we can, what we can say is, we have just these shunt branch parameters there. Okay, so with this arrangement, with this wattmeter and ammeter and voltmeter, actually if you see that this voltmeter is actually reading, VOC is actually reading E1, okay, and WOC would be, wattmeter generally gives you the wattmeter WOC, this wattmeter reading is WOC, and this voltmeter reading is VOC. So VOC is actually reading the induced EMF here, E1 here, right? Because we have neglected the drop in this series, this primary side series branch parameters, as this no load current is very low. Okay, and WOC is actually the, this wattmeter reading is actually reading the losses in the shunt branch parameters, and that losses would be there in these, in RC, that WOC is actually, it is reading the core losses, core losses. So if the test has been performed at the rated voltage condition, so WOC will read the core losses at the test voltage, which is the rated condition, if we have performed at that one, at the test voltage condition. So for no load condition, can you draw the phasor diagram of phi m? So phi m is here. So we said that Im would be in phase with the phi m, and if E1 is here, so IC would be here, right, in phase with the induced EMF, and then this is the IOC here. Okay, so VOC into IOC. Okay, so this is, let's say this is phi naught into cos phi naught will give me WOC, that is the real power consumption there. So we can find cos phi naught here. Cos phi naught would be WOC upon VOC into IOC, right? What would be IM? IM would be IOC sin phi, and IC would be IOC cos phi naught. This is sin phi naught. Okay, so now we know the values of IM and IC. Once I know this value of Im and Ic, actually you can find these parameters, right? See, so I know Im here and I know Ic here. So now I can directly find these parameters. So this Rc would be given by VOC by Ic, and Xm would be given by VOC upon Im. So with these three equations, we can actually find the So we have these three readings. WAC is the wattmeter reading, VOC is the voltmeter reading, and IOC is the ammeter reading. So with these reading, I can actually calculate the no load power factor angle cos phi naught, and we can actually find the Im magnetizing current and IC. Once we know this, we can actually find the losses. RC we can find by using this expression as well. WOC is the real power, right? Upon, because you see VOC whole square by RC would be WOC as well. Okay, so RC can be given as VOC whole square by WOC. So this way or this way. But can we apply IOC whole square into RC is equal to WOC? Can we apply this? The answer is no. We cannot apply this. The reason is this IOC has two components, IC as well as IM, magnetizing current. Both the magnitudes are there in IOC. Okay. Whereas this wattmeter will only read the losses because of IC whole square into RC. Okay. So wattmeter will actually read IC whole square into RC. Okay. So we need to find IC. We cannot apply this IOC whole square into RC to find this RC. We can actually find RC is equal to VOC whole square upon WOC. So we can apply this. Even we can apply this. Obviously, for applying this, I should know IC, right? And one is this RC you can given by VOC by IC. So by performing this no load test, we can actually find RC and JXM, the shunt branch parameters. Okay. So this open circuit test is performed at low voltage side. It is performed at its rated voltage or the lower voltage, and it gives us the core losses. Okay. And it helps us in finding the shunt branch parameters. Yeah, one more thing is, so obviously this test was performed at low voltage side. So this RC which we have got, this is for low voltage side. Okay. And XM, this is also at low voltage side. Okay, that has to be kept in mind because we have performed this test at low voltage side. Okay, so this is RC and XM. We will get through this open circuit test if we have performed at low voltage side. So these parameters is we have got for the low voltage side. Okay, so we will stop here. In the next lecture we will discuss about short circuit test, which is done to perform which is performed to find the series branch parameters and efficiency and voltage regulations. Okay, thank you.